What's up YouTube, capital G here, checking out the brand new Dark Simorgh archetype that's getting released in Rising Rampage. Konami is back at it again, boys. Looks like they are taking an old school Yu-Gi-Oh card and making an entire archetype around it. They just did this with Thunder Dragons, now they're doing it for Dark Simorgh. We have like 10 cards to talk about and a whole lot of interesting stuff to break down, so let's not waste any time. The first card is Simorgh, Bird of Beginnings. It's a hard once per turn on both of the effects, but you can use them both in the same turn. The first effect says when this card is normal summon, you can activate this effect. During this turn's main phase, you can normal summon, not set, one Simorgh monster in addition to your normal summon. You only gain this effect once per turn. Second effect is built into all the low level Simorgh monsters, so I'm only going to read it once. It says if your opponent controls no cards in their spell and trap zones and this card is in the graveyard, you can activate this effect. You cannot special summon monsters for the rest of the turn except Wing Beast monsters. Also, special summon this card in defense position but banish it when it leaves the field. Alright, free floating monsters, shout outs for that. It means you can normal summon this, get your additional normal summon, go for something like Link Karibo, instantly bring it back from the graveyard. If you go first, your opponent will have no cards in their spell and trap zones, so all the second effects of these monsters will be online. Getting an additional normal summon when it comes to that first effect is always going to be good for an archetype as decks like Frogs. It's just always good to have more ways to unload your hand. Second monster is Simorgh, Bird of Summoning. The first effect is when this card is normal summon, you can add one Simorgh card from your deck to your hand, except another copy of Simorgh, Bird of Summoning. The first effect is a hard once per turn. Again, second effect is built into all the little dudes. This is awesome. Obviously, a Stratos is good for any archetype. Add spells, traps, monsters. Basically, I'm thinking that you summon your beginnings, then you summon your summoning. You just search a card. You maybe take both of them into a Link 2 monster. Then you just Monster Reborn them back for free, and you got 4 cards on board for, you know, like minimal effort, and you also have a card in hand. A Stratos for the archetype. It's an instant 3 of. I don't really need to explain why it's good. We have Simorgh, Bird of Endings. This is a level 3 monster, and it says when this card is normal summon, you can send one Simorgh card from your deck to the graveyard, except another copy of Simorgh, Bird of Endings. It's a hard once per turn on that first effect. Alright, this is your Silent Great Gazelle, basically. It sends all your other little monsters to the graveyard. This means that you can instantly summon them from your graveyard. The spells also have bonus effects where you can banish them to do some level modification. And there's another boss monster in this graveyard that summons itself from the graveyard. This is a bona fide 3 of as well. A lot of this deck actually works from the graveyard, so you're definitely going to run 3 of this as well. This one kind of sucks. This other one, the level 4 for the deck, it's called Simorgh, Bird of Protection. It says when this card is normal summon, you can target one card in your opponent's spell and trap zone, return it to the hand. Alright, this one sucks, and I'm gonna explain why. Number one, it's the only one so far that you can't really get any use of if you're going first. Number two, it doesn't banish the card, it doesn't put it back on your opponent's, or put it back in your opponent's deck. It doesn't even freaking destroy the card, just puts it back in their hand so that they can beat you with the card next turn. I think this card's terrible. I mean, Break of the Magical Warriors is a 17-year-old card, and at least it destroyed the card. This doesn't take care of the card permanently. Honestly, I don't even think I would run this card. I think that the other ones are fine, and they're solid building blocks to an archetype. That card, not so much in my opinion. Anyways, next up is the first boss monster for the archetype. It's Simorgh, Lord of the Storm, and this one is actually like the first kind of beat stick for the archetype because it's 2,900 attack and 2,000 defense. The second and third are both hard once per turns, and now we're starting to have monsters with 3 effects. The first effect says if this tribute summon card cannot be targeted by an opponent's spell or trap card or effect. Second effect is when a spell or trap or effect is activated, quick effect, you contribute 1 Wind Wing Beast monster, then target one card your opponent controls, shuffle it back into the deck. Third effect is when a Wing Beast monster you control is destroyed by battle and this card is in your graveyard, you can add this card to your hand. That third effect actually makes me want to tribute itself, because if I tribute itself, right, and I spin one of your cards back into the deck, you're gonna have to run over one of my Wing Beast monsters at some point, right? I mean, basically I just get to add this card back from my graveyard for free. Now the thing that concerned me was the whole tribute summon, because I was like, yo, I'm not tribute summoning level 8s in 2019. What the fuck? But don't worry, when we get to the field spell, it'll all make sense. Tribute summoning is actually quite easy in this deck, but this is an excellent boss monster. The second boss monster is of course the dark attribute Simorgh. This is darkness Simorgh. If you guys don't understand, dark Simorgh, originally it was a dark, but it also counted as wind on the field. It needed to banish wind and dark monsters to summon, so it does make sense. This one has 3 effects as well. First and third are both hard once per turn. First effect says if you tribute a dark or wind monster, you can special summon this card from your graveyard if it was there when you summoned, or your hand your hand even if not. So basically you will never need to normal summon this card, because if it's in your graveyard, it special summons itself for free. If it's in your hand, it special summons itself for free. As long as you tribute summon the Lord of the Storm, the dude we just talked about, you get this one on the field for free. So that's excellent. Second effect is this card's attribute is treated as wind while it is in a monster zone. Okay, that's fine. Third effect is when a spell / trap card or effect is activated, quick effect, you contribute 1 wind wing beast monster, negate that activation, and if you do, destroy it. All right, we got some negation in this deck. This is excellent. Basically, F.A. Don Dragster. I would imagine a lot of times you might just want to tribute this card itself, because you can just summon it back from the graveyard. But I like this. Both of our boss monsters have disruption. One of them is kind of like a watered down Tiramisu. The other one is an F.A. Don Dragster. Now we can actually stop what our opponent wants to do, and I'm definitely liking that. Let's check out their field spell, and I'll explain why tribute summoning is actually quite possible in this deck, because when we were just kind of assuming that it was a tribute summon for a level 8, I was like, I don't know if I really want to do that. But believe me, this field spell is awesome. This is Elbor's Sacred Peak of Simorgh. It's a field spell, and its second and third are both hard once per turns. The first effect is when wing beast monsters gain 300 attack and defense. All right, Konami has gone nuts with that since the Arc V era, so that's nothing too special. Second effect is you can reveal 1 level 5 or higher when wing beast monster from your hand. For the rest of the turn, you can normal summon wing beast monsters with 1 less tribute. All right, this means that your level 8 will now become level 6 in your hand. Basically, it's just it's very similar to Domain. You get to reduce the amount of tributes that you have to put. It obviously makes going from 2 tributes to 1 tribute just super beneficial. The third effect is actually nuts because it works with the second effect. The second effect says, if you control a wing or a wind wing beast monster, you can immediately after this effect resolves, normal summon 1 wing beast monster. What does this mean, Cap? This means that if you normal summon any of your little bird dudes, you can instantly make your Storm, your Lord of Storm, you can make it into a level 6, and then you can tribute the little dude on field to instantly drop your boss monster. So now any normal summon straight up can summon your boss monster as long as you have the field spell. This is excellent. The only downside, I just honestly wish that it was like Domain. I wish it had that whole lock out your opponent from their extra deck, but honestly, this card is basically like Domain. It's very, very similar to something like Domain. We have the first kind of normal spell card for the archetype. This is Simorgh Arrival. It's a normal spell that's a hard once per turn. It says discard 1 wing beast monster, so shout outs to Zephyros the Elite. Add 2 Simorgh monsters with different attributes from your deck to your hand. Second effect, you can banish this card from the graveyard. Reveal 1 wing beast monster from your hand. If you do for the rest of this turn, that monster's level, or it loses a level in a hand. The first effect is basically Melody of the Awakening Dragon. Now it means that you do have to play some of the dark Simorghs, like you have to play the original dark Simorgh, or you have to play the darkness Simorgh. You can't just search wind monsters, you have to search a dark and a wind, but it obviously means you can get both of your boss monsters instantly, and since the Simorgh monster you're going to pitch can just summon itself back from the graveyard for free, I see no reason not to run multiples of this card. Hopefully it doesn't get Ash Blossom, but it seems excellent in my opinion. Next up, we have another normal spell. This is Simorgh Rejection. This is also a hard once per turn. It says discard 1 wing beast monster. So again, shout outs to Zephyros the Elite or even Harpies Black Wings. Return all cards in your opponent's spell and trap zones to the hand. This is Giant Trunade, baby. We don't have no watered down Hey Trunade. This is just straight up Giant Trunade. I'm loving that. Second effect is the same as the last one, where you can banish this card. You can reveal a wing beast monster and then reduce its level by 1. I think that effect, that whole banish, I think that only works if you use both of the card's effects in the same turn, or if you double stack this, because if you take your Dark Simorgh in your hand, or your Lord of the Storm, if you take it from level 8 to level 6, then you can actually normal summon it without a tribute, and that's actually kind of cool. But if you just take it from level 8 to level 7, there's really no point of that, to be honest, because you're still going to need the same amount of tributes. Lastly, we have a trap for this archetype. This is Simorgh Stormfront. It's a continuous trap, and it says the second effect is a hard once per turn. First effect is wing beast monsters you control with less attack than the wing beast monster you control with the highest attack cannot be targeted for attacks or by your opponent's card effects. That is excellent. So basically, if you have your Lord of the Storm on the field and your Lord of the Storm was tribute summoned, your opponent cannot use any spell and trap targeting on it, and then all your little monsters, they can't attack them and they can't target them in any way. That is pretty damn good. Basically, your entire field is immune from targeting except for, I guess, like monster targeting, like Effect Veiler or something like that. Boil Sword, Boil Load Dragon, things like that. Yeah, it seems really good. Second effect is a little volatile, and I think it could backfire relatively easily. The second effect of this card says you can send to the graveyard both discards you control and 2 Simorgh monsters you control whose original levels are 7 or higher and whose original attributes are different. Return to the hand as many cards on the field as possible, and if you do, take 500 damage for each return card to the hand, then inflict to your opponent the same amount of damage that you took. This feels like, oh man, this feels so risky. Like, I get that, you know, it's basically supposed to be your opponent committed a bunch of cards to the field. It kind of feels like it's supposed to be a desperation effect. Like if your opponent is going in their extra deck, activate this, you know, make them bounce all their stuff to the hand. Both of you guys take a bunch of burn damage. But the problem is, if your opponent has any follow-up, you have no cards on your field to defend yourself with, and you're giving up both of your boss monsters on field. Your boss monsters could have used their disruption, and I don't know, man. I mean, I probably would run like one copy of this, but I would be very hesitant to use that second effect because once you use it, you are completely naked on an island out there. So you got to be careful with that. Honestly, I think this archetype looks very interesting. To me, I think this archetype is actually screaming to have Link monsters because you have so much fodder in this deck. I also think that it would have been really nice if Konami would have gave it the domain type effector. They need that effect built in somewhere. Why make the field spell basically domain and then not give it the best effect of domain? But what do you guys think of the new Simorgh support? I had to kind of rush through these because it's so many cards and we're still on like 12 minutes. But whatever you guys think, leave it in the comment section below. Thank you guys for watching. As always, subscribe if you have not already, and turn on that notification bell for daily videos.